to rule this week on whether to remove DA District Attorney Fani Willis from the Trump election case. The Fani Willis Trump case should be decided on, according to Raphael Warnock, not based on optics, but based on the law. And Fani Willis may very well actually have more problems than just her potential case, the disqualification ruling. I'm going to be sharing a lot of that information with you guys in today's video. And but before we do, all I ask is that you take 1 second, drop a quick like for the video. I totally appreciate you guys. And I want to thank you guys so much for sharing this video on Facebook and sharing this video on X, Twitter. You guys are absolutely amazing. I definitely want you guys to hear directly from Raphael Warnock on this particular case here. Take a listen. Give me your comments.
Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis could be thrown off of Donald Trump's 2020 election interference case in Georgia after admitting that she had that personal relationship with the lead prosecutor, though she argues there was no impropriety. Do you think that relationship undercuts the integrity of the case, and should she?
This is Raphael Warnock about to react here.
Step down.
Listen, we are watching our judicial process play out. And I know that there are folks, unfortunately, in the state of Georgia, politicians, who are trying to put their hand on the scale. I'm not going to pile on. I'm not going to add to that. I will watch this process play out, and we will see where the chips fall. But at the end of the day, here's what Donald Trump deserves. He deserves to have a fair trial before a jury of his peers. And in this case, as voters of Georgia, and we need to see that play out.
And given that, do you think that the optics?
This is actually interesting to hear from a Democratic senator, his take on this. He actually does sound very, very neutral on the case. So I got to respect his opinion and his take on this one. Again, this is Senator Raphael Warnock, a senator out of the state of Georgia here.
Have become so complicated around this that Fani Willis should step down for the better good of the case that you just talked about?
Well, listen, I think this case is being played out before a judge, and that judge will have to make a decision not based on optics, but based on the law.
And of course, you know, Judge McAfee, he is set to deliver a ruling sometime this week. I mean, literally, it could be any moment now. I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, hours from now it comes out. So Georgia judge says that he's on track to rule this week on whether or not to remove District Attorney Fani Willis from the Trump election case. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have been keeping up with the soap opera here. I just want to say hello to just a couple of you guys in the comments here. I see Erica, I see Ryan Kelly, Debbie Singer, Erica B, what's going on? Sam Sanderson, Dono. So, but here we are. The presiding judge in the former President Donald Trump Georgia election subversion case, he's now saying that he is on track to order this week on whether or not to disqualify Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. This is a big case, guys. This is huge, okay? What we're looking at is potentially, this is really unprecedented territory. We don't have previous cases that we can look back upon and compare, like, you know, how did things go down before, and really make any kind of, educated projections in terms of where we go from here. But what we do know is that in an interview last week to discuss the challenger that that he will face in the re-election bid, Fulton County Superior Judge Scott McAfee briefly spoke about Fani Willis and his pending order on whether to remove her from prosecuting former President Donald Trump and the remaining co-defendants. Quote, this is from Judge McAfee. He said, I gave myself a deadline because I knew everyone wanted an answer, and I'll tell you that an order like this takes time to write. So one thing that, you know, in that statement, it kind of makes me feel a little bit more convinced that Judge Scott McAfee of Georgia is likely to give a legitimate, I'm just keeping a lot of confidence in him, likely to give a legitimate, non-biased, nonpartisan judgment and ruling on, whether or not to keep Fani Willis on this case. Now, again, I say if they throw Fani Willis off this case, they're going to throw the entire office off. They're going to throw out, excuse me, they're going to throw the entire office out. They're going to throw out Nathan Wade, and they're going to have to start all over. And if this case even gets retried, it would likely be many months into the future, very likely for former President Trump to become president again. But there was some testimony from Ashley Merchant, who is one of the co-defendants' attorneys, which is actually being reviewed by an expert. I'm going to call her an expert attorney here. And I want you to listen to this testimony and give me your feedback on this one here, guys. But pay very, very close attention to what Ashley Merchant is saying on this one.
So it's pinging from his house all the way down to the condo at midnight, 1 a.m. And he calls her when he gets there. And then it goes silent for 4 or 5 hours. And then, early in the morning hours, he starts pinging again, driving back, and then he texts her when he gets home. So, and
this is before he gets hired in November of 21.
Yes.
What are your expectations as we look ahead to this Willis disqualification hearing this week?
Well, Fani Willis has so many more problems than just this disqualification. I think that the judge had said he's going to be ruling in the next 2 weeks. We're already a week in, and so potentially by the end of the week. But as Madeline Rivera just said, they wanted to open up to other witnesses to come and reopen the record so that they could testify. So depending on whether the judge is going to do that, that might delay the decision. Although my supposition is that he's not going to do that, considering that I don't think that anything like that has been calendared. But Fani has so many more problems other than just this now. She's got a challenger for her seat. She's got the Georgia Senate looking into potential misconduct, and they can't do anything to her. They can't remove her from office, but they do control the purse strings. And so they can enact and amend laws for the future to try to avoid this type of thing. And then there are also ethics investigations being opened into her. So she's got a world of trouble, whether she stays on this case or not.
Okay, Fani Willis, for her part, says,
well,
quote,
that's a laundry list of issues. I mean, you think Donald Trump's got issues. It looks like Fani Willis may have a whole lot of issues to deal with as well. And this is the concern. I mean, not really concerning, but the really jacked up thing about it is it really calls into question all of the previous cases that Fani Willis has presided, not really presided, because the judge is the one that presides over, but the previous cases that Fani Willis attempted to bring to justice. Did everyone actually receive a fair trial? So that's just a little bit concerning. Just my own personal take on this one here. But McAfee actually told the court at the end of the Willis disqualification hearings that, he was going to take some time to decide. Now, Trump and others that are in this case that are seeking to disqualify Willis, they're accusing her of financially benefiting by hiring her special prosecutor. In this particular case is Nathan Wade, who we later discovered is, their boyfriend or, side piece. I don't know what you want to call it. But basically, that is the individual that was assisting in this particular case, who she later became romantically involved with, which it seems like it really actually wouldn't be that big of a deal. But the bigger issue is just the simple fact of the matter is that there's a lot of questions about, why did you lie about, the dates on when the relationship started. That's where the whole, will Fani Willis be charged with perjury question comes about. And it's a legitimate question. And hopefully Judge McAfee will answer that question in his deliberation when he comes back. But in addition to that, it's beyond just the perjury. There's the question about, okay, well, you decided to hire your boyfriend who had no previous experience with high profile cases like this. But yet also there's no documentation regarding the billing that said boyfriend has charged taxpayers for his services. And the rate that was charged was roughly double, according to some testimony that was shared earlier, compared to other attorneys that are of equal caliber. and likely with more experience. So, there's just a lot of questions about this. Not to mention, if you guys had seen one of my previous videos where I was sharing how the Senate hearing was questioning how the Fani Willis office got the money, and basically it was like, hey, they got approval for hiring like 55 other, they got approval for hiring like 55 attorneys or something like that, but ultimately ended up spending a tremendous amount of money on one attorney. I don't know if anyone had even been hired with the money that was ultimately approved for beyond Nathan Wade. But during the 8-minute audio clip, McAfee talked about how the case has impacted himself personally, saying that he's really looking forward to the day where he can speak with, his kids about his experience regarding presiding over this historic case. So since he's so emotionally tied up in this, and he clearly recognizes the magnitude of his decision and the outcome of this election, I'm really hopeful, and I'm expecting personally that he'll deliver a true, legitimate, honest decision on whether to disqualify Fani Willis or to keep her on the case.
I think that people are angry because I'm going to do the right thing and I'm going to stand up for justice no matter who is the person that may have done wrong in Fulton County. So they can continue on with their games, and I'm going to continue to do the work of the people.
So this is a comment, this is a statement coming from Fani Willis.
Lexi, is her credibility shot?
Now, a lot of people are looking at this like, can you trust anything that Fani Willis has to say? And this is why, the whole perjury charge is so important. Not only is it, it's a felony crime in Georgia perjury is a felony crime in Georgia. So there's that, right? But if you are openly telling stories, you're not being truthful during a trial, it makes you have to really question any and all testimony from that person, because it's like, okay, here we have, one or more tainted statements. What can be trusted and what can't be trusted? So, it's a big deal.
Oh, I think her credibility is shot. And a statement like that makes it seem like this is all made up out of whole cloth. There are witnesses. I mean, her friend, Robin Yurti, who was actually had to be subpoenaed, who was not really a willing witness. You could tell she didn't want to be there, who still had to admit, yes, the affair began in 2019. And then you had Terrence Bradley, who told everybody who would listen, apparently, about the affair and then walked it back, apparently from pressure from Wade.
Terrence Bradley went from, oh, absolutely, they were dating since like 2019 or something like that, right? And then all of a sudden, I don't recall, sudden case of amnesia. What do you guys think on this whole thing playing out here, guys? Do you think we're going to get a fair shake? Drop me some comments. I wanted to give you guys a quick update. I'm really, really hopeful that we get the official news dropped by Judge McAfee top of the morning tomorrow. No guarantees, but it sure would be nice to get that confirmation from him. But let me jump in the comments with you guys real quick. I want to see what you guys are saying here. All right, where are y'all at? So who do we have in here? You guys are up late. I got Dono in here. We got the 1MR. Got Erica B. Got Ryan Kelly, Debbie Singer, North South. So let's see. Debbie Singer says, hi, Ron. So glad to see you. Thank you for showing us and taking us through this journey with us. Watching from St. Louis, Missouri. Awesome. St. Louis, Missouri. Then we got Dono, South Holland. Interesting. We got, who do we have in here? We got Gail Strong. The judge also mentioned previous cases. Thomas Carey says Wade's gonna fade. Gail Strong, Wade never had handled a RICO case, right? I don't know if he has handled a RICO case or not. I do know that I've heard over and over repeatedly that he didn't have experience with this type of case. Let's see. The 1MR says, Ron, how did Fani think that she would get away with throwing stones and hiding her hands when she was doing crooked things? That's a good question. There's one of my old mentors used to always tell me, it always comes out in the wash. Carrie Norris says it does not look good for Fani. Josh Cummings says Fanny's a liar. Rich Dad of 4, not to be confused with Rich Dad Poor Dad back there, but Rich Dad of 4 in Utah in the chat. What's going on? I see you there. Got Troy Tompkins. Hi Shalom from Waldorf, Maryland. What's going on, Troy? I see you, man. We got Carlos Gagliano from San Blas, Mexico, expat. What's going on, Carlos? What's going on, brother? We got John Stanley watching from Mexico. Nice. We got 2 people from Mexico watching today. That's what's up, guys. Gregory Leak, Trump, U.S. 2024 from Missouri. Ryan Kelly, thanks for all you do, Ron. Let's see. Joseph Perez says, why not go for the short sellers that are destroying AMC and apply RICO? Well, that's interesting because the short sellers, aren't they like hedge funds or something like that? Which is why they were trying to do that whole short squeeze thing and make the hedge funds crash. Anyway, that's a story for another day. Rich Dad of 4 says, laugh out loud, also Rich Dad. Good for you, brother. Good for you, man. It's not a crime to be rich. In fact, being rich, in my opinion, is nothing short of a blessing. And I believe that God wants us all to be rich. Anyway, I want to just kind of sign off here tonight. I want to say good night. I want to say God bless everyone. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow, and you guys have a great evening. Y'all be safe.